This week on the Socratic Cinema podcast.
Wait, James, do you hear that?
It sounds like someone knocking. Is someone at the door?
Oh my god, it's all the women that are rushing to your doorstep.
Kind of like the Hakuna Matata, you're gonna be dead anyways.
Are you sure that's what Hakuna Matata means? But he also was incredibly addicted to poker.
At least it wasn't like meth.
True, at least it wasn't meth. All right, guys, I'm gonna go on live 365. We're at 10 tips to get your listeners hooked. Oh, damn, we got
Please.
this. All right. Include disclaimers. Everyone, spoiler warning. Mention a website, youtube.com/Socratic Cinema.
Is that our URL?
I don't know. You think I know these things?
I think our URL is probably like youtube.com//watch-?HJ, something like that.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I'll write that out. Okay, create a tagline. Zip, zap, we're the movie boys and girl. Choose the right music. James got that covered. Set the tone for your podcast. Already doing it. Start with a question. Is it Halloween? Introduce your podcast. We're Socratic Cinema. Be concise. Already lost that point. And create a unique intro for each episode. I think we've done that. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Socratic Cinema. My name is Charlie Heatherly.
I'm Kasey Clark.
And I'm James Delicio, and I was not prepared for him to actually be starting the podcast right there. I thought he was practicing.
I am agile. I am speed. And
You're
it is
switching.
Halloween. I
Oh
switched
my
it
gosh.
up.
He's
Yeah.
a poet.
Period.
He's a
That
poet, and
was
he didn't even
good.
know it.
I can rhyme anytime. I always follow it by that, and then I want to do a third one, but I just don't know another rhyme, so really I can't.
I like the one from Princess Bride where he's like, "Stop rhyming, I mean it. Does anybody want a peanut?"
Peanut.
Well, the topic of today's discussion is certainly not Princess Bride. In fact, well, I guess it is a movie to do with brides. It is Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride.
Mwahahaha.
Dun, dun, dun.
Happy Halloween, guys. We're starting our Socratic annual second time of the ever doing it, our Socratic spooky month, where we're gonna this year though, we're gonna not only watch some Halloween themed movies, but they're connected. This year, 2020, we're bringing you Tim Burton month. So we're gonna be talking all about our boy Tim and his stop motion wonders that get us in the Halloween spirit, and we hope they get you in the Halloween spirit too. So we hope you enjoy this spooky cursed special episode of Socratic Cinema Halloween edition. Yay.
Ooh. Cue the lightning clashes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have enough budget for those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got our
of
first paycheck.
course.
We're good. Awesome. Great. Well, Corpse Bride. I'm interested to hear what you guys thought, because this was personally my first experience with the movie. I know Kasey's done a round of Corpse Bride before, but I wasn't really sure what I was expecting. In fact, I thought this movie was the Victor movie. I mixed up the stop motion movies, and I thought this was another spooky one, but I was pleasantly surprised, if I'm being quite honest. I think Corpse Bride really packed a lot of Tim Burton into one movie. He really managed to put it in
yeah.
70 minutes. All of his trademarks are there. You got weird looking characters. It's all gray and scary. And most importantly, there's Johnny Depp. That is number
Yes,
one for a
sir.
Tim Burton movie. I didn't even realize he was really Johnny Depp because he sounded so quiet and not Johnny Depp-ish.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought he pulled out a great performance. Like James will say, I was not the biggest fan of Victor, but I did indeed enjoy the love triangle that was present in the movie, especially in a kid's movie. So yeah, I think overall it's a very good film, and I think that there's some things that we can talk about, some interesting theories. Kasey, what did you think about this?
I absolutely love this movie. It's definitely one of my comfort movies that I go to during this spooky season. I love Tim Burton. I think he's amazing at character design and world building. I just love the fact that in all of his movies, no character really looks the same. They all kind of have their own design that feeds into their characters somehow. I don't even know how many times I've watched this movie because I watched it a lot when it was on Netflix. But it's just a really, really good, wholesome movie. It's a musical, so that's something that you need to know going into it, because it is a very Tim Burton musical. As Charlie said, he puts all of his key Tim Burton characteristics into the movie. All of them are there. If you made a checklist, you'd get a bingo.
You would get a bingo.
Yeah, I
would
played the
get-
drinking game, and I'm drunk now for this podcast after that one.
Yeah, but all the characters are super interesting, and I would love to focus on Emily once we get there.
Yes, Emily is my favorite character. She's the only one who's like not terrible.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
No, no.
Hildegard
Hey,
was the best character
Bone
by far.
Jangles. Bone Jangles has my heart.
Oh, true.
I like Napoleon. He's badass.
Who's Napoleon?
The short.
Yeah, the short guy with the
Was
sword
that
in him.
Napoleon?
Well, it wasn't like actually Napoleon, but like
Bonaparte. Get it?
Bonaparte? Dang, hey, I have another Halloween joke.
Yeah.
Why are ghosts terrible liars?
Why?
You can see right through them.
I despise you.
Yeah, but as Kasey was saying, this is totally like a run-of-the-mill classic Tim Burton movie. I'd actually never seen it all the way through. This was my first time, and I was surprised by the minuscule runtime of this movie. I think not counting credits, it's like an hour 13, which is tiny. Like this is a very, very short movie, and so it wastes no time getting through it, getting across what it needs to get across. But yeah, like Kasey was saying, it crosses off all the boxes, right? Danny Elfman, Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, everyone's here. Everyone's here. And I thought it really worked. It took me a little while to get into the movie when they were like in the world of the living and we were just kind of meeting Victor and Victoria, which is going to be really confusing for me because they have like the same name. The world of the living, I wasn't like super sold on it. I don't know. I just wasn't. I get that it's supposed to be awkward and kind of like stagnant, but it was just so maybe that's the point, that it was uncomfortable, but I was not a big fan of like the first 10 minutes of the movie. But once we started getting into the underworld and we had all these fun skeleton dances and then all that, I was like, okay, now I'm into it. Now it feels like Tim Burton and I'm down. I still don't like it as much as Nightmare Before Christmas. I think that's Tim Burton's best, and I think that'll always be Tim Burton's best. But Corpse Bride, very much a Halloween classic that I thoroughly enjoyed. So there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of unfortunate. I feel like what they were really going for with the movie is that this Victorian era, or actually I'm pretty sure it was in like the 1800s or something. I guess that's Victorian. This village is sort of meant to be incredibly bland, and that's the whole point of it. But if I'm being quite honest, I don't think that makes for an interesting viewing experience. Because although I think I liked the first 10 minutes more than you, it just felt like they didn't go for anything really interesting when it came to shots like they did in Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, that field of those like Van Gogh-esque black hilltops, that will stay in the minds of everyone when they watch that. There's not a scene like that in Corpse Bride. There's really nothing that engages me. So the cinematography was lacking for sure.
Yeah, there's no like money shots, no like iconic scenes, except for I guess the piano duet scene is pretty iconic. I think that's like the closest thing this movie has to a money scene, because that's like one of the only scenes I had seen from the movie beforehand. But
really,
yeah, I saw it on YouTube once. Speaking of piano, I'm a little disappointed in Danny Elfman and Tim Burton, because there's this one part in the very beginning when Victor like goes to play the piano, and I swear I had to stop and rewind this scene so many times. This is just a personal thing for me. There is no way in heck the notes that man is playing on the piano match up to the sounds that are coming out.
Here we go.
Because listen, I can excuse it if it's like a live action movie, whatever, and you just have actors who don't know how to play. But this is an animated movie by two people who love music, and the music is very focal. If you have my man playing what is very clearly, there's a close-up shot of his hand, I rewinded it time after time, very clearly playing, ready music nerd, he's playing a C fully diminished arpeggio. And you know what we hear coming out of the piano? You would think, based on the notes he's playing on the keys, that you would hear a C diminished arpeggio coming out.
Oh my God.
Nope.
Wait, James.
Instead, the piano decides to make the sounds of a C major, and it just killed me. It just absolutely killed me. So for that, I'm giving this movie a 0 out of 10.
Wait, James, do you hear that? Do you hear
Sounds
that
like
sound?
someone knocking. Is someone at the door?
Oh my God, it's all the women that are rushing to your doorstep because they heard you talk about a diminished arpeggio.
Okay, dude. Just you wait. All right, just you wait.
Well, Oh,
Damn,
but
you
that
went
brings
off.
me to a note that I really did not like a lot of the songs in the musical, and I was
True.
sad about it.
No,
What?
I'm with Kate.
I liked the skeleton song. That's my favorite song.
Oh, y'all are
Yes.
crazy.
Absolutely.
But it was just in my defense, in comparison to Nightmare Before Christmas and this
Doesn't even
score,
come close,
I'm
baby.
going to take Nightmare Before Christmas.
Sure.
Not even a question. Not even
Not
close.
even a question.
Yeah, look, and that I think the first song is a big part of the reason why I was not into this movie. That first song about the wedding
Was not
is
good.
some of the most sleeper content I've ever seen in a musical ever. And then, like, the two songs I liked in this movie were the Bone Jangles song, because that was awesome and jazzy and like super visually interesting. And the second one was the one where they're making the wedding. And you want to know the
Yeah.
only reason I liked that song? Is because it's a ripoff of Making Christmas from Nightmare Before Christmas. That's it. I was a little disappointed by the music coming off of Nightmare, but I really don't want this podcast just to turn into a why Corpse Bride is just a worse version of Nightmare Before Christmas. So I'm gonna lay off of it a little bit.
I mean, like, look, I get it from you two. I understand that Nightmare Before Christmas had undeniably the better music, but I think personally, even Danny Elfman's middleweight hits, I mean, they're still like hard hits, man. Danny Elfman is such a talented composer, and when I was listening to that first piano song, Victor solo, I was like legitimately thinking that was like a classic piano piece.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Like I had heard that somewhere before. Wait, this is original? This is just Danny Elfman? And I was like, what? That's insane. And I wish that I knew a little bit more about music, because I would say that there's possibly a Dies Irae hidden in there somewhere. And I hope that Danny
there's
Elfman
gotta
would.
be.
There's gotta be, right?
Let's talk about the Dies Irae.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and do that? You're the music
I'm
guy.
super impressed with you, Charlie. You just like made my day.
Hell yeah.
The Dies Irae is this musical phrase that's kind of like an inside joke among all composers everywhere. It's like it's the death knoll is basically what it is. Is that the right word? Knoll?
Death
Knell?
Knell.
It's the
Yeah.
death knell. Excuse me. But what it is, it's the maybe I'll put it in post if I'm not feeling lazy, but it's like the da na na na. You know what it is? It's Making Christmas, by the way. So if you can't remember what the Dies Irae is, just think of Making Christmas. But maybe we should stop talking about Nightmare Before Christmas so much, because
We'll save that for next time.
yeah, I wonder what we're doing next time.
Oh,
Wow, if
oh.
we're doing the second best Tim Burton Halloween movie, I wonder what the next podcast will be. Anyways, yeah, I'd have to listen to it again, Charlie, but
Mhm.
I'm willing to. I'm like 75% sure there was probably a Dies Irae in there somewhere.
Now that's confidence right there.
Yeah, because I don't know, but it would feel very fitting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's some cool musical language for any aspiring film composers. If you have something like evil or death related, just put the Dies Irae in it, and people like us will think you're an absolute scholar for it. And you are, rightfully so.
Exactly. Well, Kasey, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say about the animation, which may seem like a weird question. Like, why would I ask specifically you about that? But I think as a dancer, you sort of have this intuitive understanding of how choreography and movement should work. And I'm wondering, did that motion come through in the movement of the stop motion characters, or did it feel choppy like it was stop motion when you were watching?
Oh, that's actually a really, really good question. I love focusing on movement, and I'm also a very, very big fan of stop motion. I think the movements in this movie were pretty fluid, especially with how they play specifically with the movement of like dresses and stuff, because Emily, her dress is very flowy. It's a wedding dress. It's very hard because the majority of at least the female characters are in ankle length dresses, and they're just kind of like wobbling around, but you really
Yeah.
see the movement in Victor when he's being so clumsy. You really see the intricacies and like the details in his arms when I'm thinking specifically on like the door scene where he's searching, the wedding rehearsal scene where he's like trying to get out of the door and then he just kind of like runs through it. I feel like the most choppy sections, I guess, would be maybe the running scenes.
Yeah.
But it's just stop motion's difficult. I'm not going to expect it to be like running super fluidly, but also it's kind of in between live action running and then like running in motion that you see in like Phineas and Ferb, where it's super like tick, 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 tick. Like it's not fluid at all. But it's kind of in that happy medium. I don't think Leica's very, very good at what they do.
Leica?
Leica,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
they did Kubo
Kubo.
and
Oh,
Paranormal.
hell
Yeah,
yes.
and Kubo is
Kubo
amazing
is
with
so
motion.
underrated, man. Kubo,
It is.
so it got like snubbed hard.
I've never
It
seen it.
really did.
Oh my gosh,
we
trust me,
should
Kubo.
watch it.
I'm
But I
so
would
down.
say Kubo's like the top tier stop motion like fluidity, and
I agree.
then I would put this movie kind of in like mid tier where it's not horrible, but there are sections where it's like, ugh.
Yeah,
That was
and
kind of
also
uncomfortable.
it could just be because it's old and like Kubo's newer. This movie did come out in like
True.
2006 or something, which let me say, man, I think Nightmare Before Christmas, I'm going back to it again, is like 93. You had like 9-10 years to improve and make like a banger movie. I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah,
I'm just so upset about like what could have been. I wish this movie was longer. I wish it was longer because I want to see more Emily and Victor things. I think this is one example of like a film where the length worked against it a little bit. There was no room for like nuance in the story. It was very cut, just like guy, girl. He's trying to get back to his other girl. There's this twist villain that you can guess the first time you hear that there's a twist villain. You immediately know who it is.
Well, it's certainly that we have to understand that there's not going to be a whole lot of nuance in there. But when I say that, I mean, we look at Pixar and we see things like Inside Out, where it's a pretty cut-based story, but there's so many layers, but so much emotional complexity. So I feel like giving this movie a pass just because a kid's movie is maybe not the fairest thing to say, but I don't know. I feel like it was cut and dry, and it was cut and dry for a reason. They really worked themselves into a corner with this story, if we're being honest. Like making two very likable love interests. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Victoria.
No,
like there really isn't. Like she's just okay. And it makes sense to me why people or why they ended the movie the way that they did. But it's really hard to come to a satisfying conclusion when there really isn't a correct one here.
Yeah.
Like if he ended up with Emily, it would have been great. If he ended up with Victoria, I guess it makes sense too. But it's just like they really didn't. I don't think they built up the story in the correct way to get a good payoff at the end.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't feel good about either direction it could have gone in the ending. Like Victoria and Victor, it's like that's good, but also I'm kind of doubting that they're madly in love like the movie tries to make it seem they are.
Yeah.
What it feels like is it feels like Victor met this girl, Victoria, and he wasn't at all interested in her. And it's only when he's stuck with a corpse for a bride that he's like, man, I wish I was back with this real girl. It's like he only picked her because she's not dead, is what it feels like to me.
They both have good personalities. They're both hot. Like
they're
really,
skinny. Their waists are snatched.
Well, okay, like in terms of Tim Burton characters, they're probably the best you're gonna get. All right, like
I'm just saying, Tim Burton, like, how has he not been canceled for this?
I feel like Tim Burton's been canceled before
for the body image.
Yeah,
issues.
like how? I don't think
sure.
Tim Burton would care. I think in every episode
Also
I make a how has this person not been canceled yet point, and then you guys always say, oh, I'm sure they have. That's like becoming a routine bit.
Well, no,
Socratic
people have been
Cinema.
like mad at Tim Burton forever, and it's like one of those people in Hollywood where everyone just like secretly doesn't really like him all too much, but they just tolerate him because he's so weird. Tarantino, exactly.
Yeah, and then, but the thing that like, there's no normal looking person in any of Tim Burton's movies. They're either like sticks or they're spherical, and there's absolutely no in betweens. And it's
Sally. Sort of.
Oh, you're right. Wait,
normal.
Sally actually was not snatched.
Sally's a body image queen. Yeah.
True.
I mean, she was also like stitched together.
Well, you know, I mean, you can't win them all.
But you could argue that makes her case even better because when you make someone artificially, you can make them as snatched as you want to.
Oh,
True.
damn. All right, now we're just getting into the nuances of Nightmare Before Christmas again.
I know. But anyways, I think the
Deep.
character design, although like I can see some problems being raised for it, if I'm gonna be woke about it, I think the character design does a lot to contribute to the overall mood and feel. Like
Yeah.
maybe they're unrealistic because it's supposed to be, and this is supposed to make you feel weird. But what I think Tim Burton never fails at is establishing like a mood, a tone. I mean, when I think of Halloween, I think of Tim Burton at this point. And
Mhm.
honestly, if here's my philosophy with movies, I was thinking about this a while. I'm thinking of ending things made me ponder this. If you can impart on me the feel and the message of the movie, I don't care if everything adds up 100% airtight. Like, if you have plot holes and your story maybe was like kind of bland, I'll forgive it so long as you got your message across to me. Like, if the mood and feel and everything was there and you you conveyed to me what you wanted to convey, I could care less if there's some minor plot hole that people are going to pick apart on Reddit,
I'm
whatever.
tearing up. I'm so proud, James. That's exactly what I've been saying this entire time.
So-
You finally understand it. I'm so
I
happy.
get it. I get it now.
And coming off of that, so what would you guys think is the major theme of the movie?
Way to go,
Ooh.
Kasey, bringing us back to what
Yeah.
we're here to do.
What a woman. She's got it covered.
Oh, thanks.
What's the theme? Something about like, if you love them, let them go, I think is the clear answer. Like,
Sorry, I
love,
just love that song.
Ooh.
love and self. Yeah, let's play the Passenger song. Like love, I mean, self-sacrifice, and that's that whole little fable about if you love someone, let them go, I think is the surface level answer. But I don't think this is. I think this is kind of surface level movie. So I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
That's my theme proposition.
What about you, Charlie?
I mean, I think I got to go somewhere with James on this, because really the whole emotional climax of the story is Emily sort of realizing, oh, you know what it actually could be? I feel like it could be an idea about self-imposed pressure. I think that might be one of the central things in this movie, because that's really what Emily's curse is, right? Like at the very end when Mr. Evil Bad Guy Trademark says
Barkus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
the
a
worst villain ever. I'm just
Barkus Bittern.
he's
badass
just a
name.
jerk. I'd hate to be like to know Barkus.
Exactly. But he says you're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And I feel like that's sort of a tipping point for Emily, because she realizes, well, wait, why am I always that? She's been dead for this entire time. It's not like she's seeing all her friends get married and she like just can't form relationships. It's because she has this self-imposed idea of, to be happy, she needs to be a bride. She needs to be somebody's wife. When in reality, she should be content on her own, or at least have some sort of idea of self-love rather than seeking the validation of an outsider, especially someone who is like entirely opposite to them. I mean, for God's sakes, he's alive and she's dead. Like the whole point of this movie is people trying to figure out who they are within society and break down the expectations that other people might have. Like, you see in Victor's character, where everyone's like, oh, he needs to be prim and proper and all this, when in reality, he just wants to be a good guy. He wants to be more confident. He wants to love someone. But everyone's so focused on wealth and tradition and things like that he can't really see that. So yeah, if I had to pick a theme for this movie, I would definitely say that it's making your own of the world and stop relying on the expectations of others to do so.
Okay. I would say the theme that I pulled from the movie more focuses on a overall fear of death. I take, because at the beginning of the movie we see Victor very like not ready to get married, which I was like, oh, maybe the theme is that like marriage is a trap. Or, like,
Yeah, no,
something
you
like
can
that.
symbolize marriage as death. Totally. It's a death of one
Yeah.
half of your life.
But I
Damn.
see
No, that's a symbolic, that's archetypal, you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Hear
But
that,
I
parents?
honestly I honestly took that whole him being afraid of marriage as him being afraid of taking the next step in life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the journey into the land of the unliving kind of just shows Victor that death really isn't something to be feared. Like, especially in the Bone Jangle song, he's like, well, life is great, but we all end up as the remains of the day, essentially, that you shouldn't like kind of like the Hakuna Matata, you're gonna
Yeah,
be
don't
dead
stress. Don't
anyways.
stress about it.
And then we
Are you
see
sure that's
death
what Hakuna Matata means? You're gonna be dead
dead
anyway.
anyway.
No worries.
And then we see death like actually personified in Emily as you know, a dead person. And we see kind of Victor running from Emily and his marriage to her back to Victoria, which is kind of him running away from death into what Charlie was saying, like the societal marriage construct that he was so nervous about. And he honestly like sees his relationship with Emily as a trap, which is
Mhm.
like shifting away from him seeing his relationship with Victoria as a trap or something that he simply like doesn't want, isn't prepared for at all. And then to see at the end of the movie that Emily being the one thing that kind of like saves him, that tells him that he doesn't have to give up himself. He doesn't have to lose himself in a relationship that he thought was a trap by seeing through herself. They're like, no, I would actually be the bad guy if I let you do this. Where like Emily essentially frees him at the end. She's the person that says, no, you go out, you chase what you want, which is Victoria. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But the thing
Yeah.
that like he was trapped in for the majority of the movie ends up being what freed him. That's like a way roundabout way of saying it. But
Don't worry. We'll pass through it all in post.
in post.
Yeah, I can get behind that interpretation, Casey. I think the only like thing that hinges on all of this is Victor, and I don't buy any of Victor's motivations at all throughout the movie. I mean, and I think that's because of the runtime, and I think that's because of the limited time frame of the movie. I mean, it all takes place in what, 2 days?
Yeah.
Because, like you were saying, he's afraid of this marriage construct, and then he's afraid of death. Like, whether that's the same thing or not, marriage is death symbolism clickbait thumbnail moment.
Hell yeah.
But he kind of like all it takes for him to get over his fear of marriage is to have something worse to fear, which just kind of feels like a cop out to me. I don't know. That's sort of like what I was saying with Charlie, where either ending to the movie would have upset me. I think either way, he's just kind of settling. He's not really. I can refuse to believe he's actually wants to marry either of these people. Maybe he wants to marry Victoria more than Emily, but I don't know. I mean, he went from saying like, "How could anyone love you?" and then the next scene, he was like, "You know what? Fine. I will kill myself and let's get married, Emily." It's like, what? That was 5 minutes. They had one bonding scene where they played piano and did not speak. And then they decided to get married, and that's it. Oh no, sorry, my bad. There was a scene in between where he learned that that Victoria was going to marry Barkis. So basically, his entire motivation to marry Emily is I'm probably going to be stuck here forever, and the wife that I supposedly really want to marry is getting married to someone else. Well, I guess I have nothing else to lose. Let's get married, Emily. Like, what? What? No. I can't. I have higher standards for relationships. I don't know. I was not feeling it. But
As you should.
that being said, when I did like the character, I mean, I liked Victor's arc of from going for, this manipulative, lying, selfish guy who's only looking to get back to the world of the living to sacrificing himself to give Emily happiness, and because Emily's a sweetie. She's so naive, and she's like, Emily deserves the world. And
Got her
then
killed, so
I know. And then Victor like is just so bad. And so I liked seeing him come around in the final act, even if it wasn't believable. I still liked his arc. I like his arc in theory. I just wish it was a little more fleshed out. I think a lot of the problems with this movie come back to it being so short, and I get that stop motion is hard, and so I mean, like making a 2-hour stop motion movie is a lot harder than making a 1-hour stop motion movie. But with a shorter runtime, things are going to get cramped when it comes to character development. But
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
I could totally see that. I think their biggest problem is that they needed to balance two relationships in such a way to where the connector between those two relationships, Victor, can't be in the same place as both of them at the same time. He has to be in one land or the other, right? So they need to keep coming up with ways for him to transfer between those two places so that they can keep building up this relationship. And I think you're right. They didn't have the correct pacing in the story to have those little moments to where maybe Victoria would look over at Victor and like smile and just be like,
they had
yeah,
2 scenes together in the whole movie.
exactly.
3
And-
sorry, 3 scenes. One of which is them getting married. So he has 2 scenes fall in love with her. It's like how this is
Exactly.
it reminded me of Romeo and Juliet. A lot of Shakespearean imagery. Him climbing the like
At
between
least
the
Romeo and
whole-
Juliet makes sense, dude.
Yeah, but it's like the families don't like each other. Ooh, he's climbing through the window to see his beloved. Ooh, they're both dumb and young and fall in love in 2 days. Ooh, like it reminded me of Romeo and Juliet. That's just something a little minor to throw in, but
No, totally. Well, I think that the reason why Romeo and Juliet works and this movie doesn't is because Romeo's like confident. The
does
problem
Romeo and Juliet work though?
yeah, totally.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I like it.
love, baby. It all makes sense to me, but like Romeo's confident and he's got that cocky persona, so it makes sense that he would, fall madly in love with someone because he's all about passion. He's all about going 100%. Victor is so demure and just like bad at life and clumsy and anxious, and he doesn't have the confidence to pull off that sort of I'm madly in love with you now sort of thing and then make her fall in love in the same way because she seems or Victoria seems pretty confident. She seems like she's got things down. She knows who she is. She's well spoken. Like it just doesn't feel like they're the same young, dumb, passionate love couple that Romeo and Juliet was. And I think you're right. When you get all this character development for Emily, you're sort of like, well, Victoria's like bad. Like, what's the point of her? In fact, the movie makers thought that too, because as they were going through different drafts, they kept making Emily more and more likable. And their response to that was not to make Emily less likable. It was to try and quote unquote beef up Victoria by having her take action by going to the bishop's place to try and get Victor out of the underworld. But it just doesn't feel like that's building a relationship. It just feels like that's showing that she's in love with him, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's a reciprocated thing.
Yeah, it's a little one-sided.
Yeah, totally.
So I have a proposition for you guys.
What's that?
As I was watching this movie, I had a very cursed thought that I haven't been able to get out of my mind, but I want to propose to you guys my fan cast for a live-action Corpse Bride.
I thought you were going to go in a much worse direction. I'm so happy you
No, are you guys ready? I thought about this a lot, and I think this is ironclad. I have 3 picks
damn.
for my leads, and I want to hear your thoughts. Kasey, Charlie, are you guys ready?
I'm prepared.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with Emily. This one, I'll admit, is right off the bat the weakest of the 3, but it's the best pick I could think of. I'm going to go with Emma Watson.
Interesting.
I'm putting the cards down. Emily, say like the hair. I don't know. Something about the hair fits to me. Her overall like build. I'm going with Emma Watson for Emily.
Okay.
Charlie, Kasey, let me hear your feedback on this one.
Well, when you said your fan casting, I hope I know exactly who you're going to choose for Victoria because I actually know the perfect cast for that.
Okay.
But Emma Watson for Emily, I mean, yeah, I can see it. I think Emma Watson might be a bit too I don't know. She feels a little bit too confident to play Emily. Emily feels a bit more desperate and like she needs something within her to complete her. But I think Emma Watson can pull it off. I mean, I love Emma Watson, and I think that I mean, I can see that for sure.
All right. Kasey, how are we doing so far on my pick?
It could work mostly because of the versatility of Emma Watson. Like you can give her whatever and she'll play it. I
got
do feel
range.
like she got range. I don't know. I don't know if it's just like the Hermione speaking to me, but I probably, me personally, like if we're just rearranging who you're picking, I would probably put her as Victoria, maybe.
Do
I
you
don't know,
have
just
do you
because
have
of
a
the headstrong?
sure? Do you have a pick for Emily that you think would work better? Just so we
Oh,
can make a best like complete cast.
Emily, that would work. Angelina Jolie, hands down, perfect.
she was actually considered for the role
Oh,
of
was she?
Emily.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Right.
I was joking, but yeah, I don't actually know. Emily's a
would-
hard one to get right with famous actresses.
Yeah, because she's not. Hold on, I have to like look up a picture.
Can I say who I think the best?
No, I think because I
Oh.
hope we're thinking the same thing.
All right, we better be. If we're not, I'll be very upset.
All right. In that case, let's move on to Victoria. Here, my pick for the ultimate best Victoria, and I will not hear anything different, is Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yes, yes.
This is absolutely the correct
100
answer.
yes.
And there's
No
no.
other choice.
She played Emma in the new movie Emma, the Jane Austen one. She
Yes.
absolutely, they're identical twins. I'm convinced. There's no better pick for Anya. She would pull off. I mean, based on her performance in Emma, we've seen how well she can do that kind of role. She's very good at the whole Victorian, like not dainty, but very like poised, refined, kind of soft spoken. I think she would do incredible as Victoria. And I will not hear any feedback otherwise. Charlie, I'm so glad that you were thinking what I was thinking. Have you guys seen Emma?
No, I really want to
No.
though.
It was so that was like one of the last movies I saw in theaters before the fall.
The fall.
BC back in like BC is gonna turn into before COVID.
Oh damn.
Dang.
BQ before quarantine. So we have like BC AD. AD is also BQ, I guess. It's gonna make our year system way more complicated.
Wait, I actually found an Emily.
Okay, let me hear it.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Kit-Kat?
I don't know who Kit Kat is, but I'm pretty
Kick ass.
Hit girl from Kick-Ass.
Yes.
She's got the nose for it.
I think she's got the nose for it. I think she can pull off that sort of bride idea. And I'm really not seeing anyone else that speaks to me.
You know what? Chloe Grace Moretz might be a better pick, but from an acting standpoint,
What's wrong with Chloe Grace Moretz?
I only know her from Kick-Ass, and she was like 11 in that movie.
Okay, well, I will admit, to get to her profile, I have to go through hottest young female actresses, so maybe not a good sign of the movie industry's progressive nature, but
Yeah, there was a lot of like drama with Chloe Grace Moretz. I think she was very like she was very outspoken about like these, you know, some of the problems like that in the film industry. So good for her.
Oh, what about Elle Fanning as
Who?
Emily? Elle Fanning.
Oh, I'm googling her.
Where-
As Emily.
She was in Maleficent in the great.
Oh.
neon
Okay,
painting.
sure. I can see this. You know, I can get behind Elle Fanning. I don't know. I'm still biased towards Emma Watson just because I also really like Emma Watson. I'm drawing more on Little
Dakota
Women.
Fanning.
Dakota Fanning. I'm thinking of Little Women Emma Watson more than Harry Potter Emma Watson, if that clears anything up.
I see.
But yeah, Chloe Grace Moretz was good. That was a good pick. I'm not gonna lie. Charlie kind of popped off.
Or you can do... I mean, Saoirse Ronan, I feel like might be too much of a firebrand for it, but
Yeah, I don't know.
but she has that sort of quirkiness that I think would fit for an undead character.
How about Zendaya?
No.
I don't know. I was just like, I thought about like she's tall. All I thought
Yeah.
about was like Zendaya's tall and she's a really good
Legs.
actress. She would
Yes.
that would be like a really cool casting, I think.
I'd love that personally.
I would like be so
She's
down.
too cool. I think she's too cool to play her. I love Zendaya, but I don't know. I think she's
I
just...
can't wait for Zendaya to throw down in the Dune movie.
Yes.
Dune is
How
gonna
excited should I be?
I'm listening to the audiobook right now. It's pretty dang good high fantasy sci-fi. It's like the blueprint for stuff like Game of Thrones and Star Wars.
That's what I hear, is that Dune is like, it's very out there in terms of how much you need to know about this world and like the level of detail in it. So I'm a little cautious.
It
if I'm
takes
being
a
honest.
while if you listen to the book. It doesn't like hold your hand. It kind of just throws you in and you figure it out. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot so far. But anyways, this is my final pick, and this is what got me going on this train in the first place. And like I said, I will not hear otherwise. I think he matches the energy of Victoria perfectly. Anya Taylor-Joy. This pick, it may be a little basic in today's film like landscape, but I think for Victor, you cannot get better than Timothée Chalamet.
Interesting. I think he's too hot.
The frame, the cut cheekbones, I think Timothée Chalamet would pull it off. He looks, I've heard it said so many times from haters, oh, Timothée Chalamet looks like a frail Victorian boy. You know who that's perfect for? Victor. That's my fan cast. I'm pressing submit.
He's too confident. He's
Kasey's
way too
laughing.
confident.
Casey's laughing, but she's in the Matrix.
Oh, sorry.
We-
I was trying to like. Dang. I mean, he does look. Yeah, he could.
And the
pull
hair.
off the. Yeah.
The hair. His hair is so nice, and so is Victor's. I think he's got it in the bag. I feel like Timothée Chalamet was born to be in a Tim Burton movie. He looks like he could be the new Edward Scissorhands.
Get Logan Lerman.
No, not
don't
Logan
even-
Lerman. Logan
don't
Lerman
get
is
me
not
started on
skinny
Logan
enough to
Lerman.
play Victor.
Honestly, I think Andrew Garfield probably has the clumsiness that I'm looking for.
Oh,
Wait,
Andrew.
that's a good. Andrew Garfield is the blueprint for Timothée Chalamet, though. So,
True.
I just feel I just don't like Andrew Garfield in general, though.
oh,
So-
he was good in Amazing
Damn.
Spider-Man, and I will not hear otherwise.
Yeah, but he also like was incredibly addicted to poker and screwed up some people's lives.
At least it wasn't like
Damn.
meth.
True, at least it wasn't meth, you know. But if you have to say at least it wasn't meth, best pick. I think I finally got it. Michael Cera. Genius. I know.
no.
All right. We've been Socratic Cinema.
Yeah, okay. Look, I'm just
Oh.
submitting it. I'm locking it in. I'm sorry. Timothée Chalamet, Anya Taylor-Joy, Emma Watson, hit me up. Let's get it together. Let's start working on this.
Yeah, no. Great castings. I mean the only one I really agree with is Anya Taylor-Joy, but it's fine.
I think I should be a casting director.
Your dreams finally being realized.
I know. Kasey, you sounded like you had something to say.
No, I'm looking through the top 100 like hot actors trying to find someone.
Jaden
no.
Smith.
He's gotta be.
Jaden Smith.
But
Jaden Smith.
but if you wanted, the thing about Victor is he has to look deathly ill. Is the catch.
To look deathly ill.
And that's why I think Timothée Chalamet is a great pick. Hey, there's another Dune actor.
Yeah.
By the way, he's gonna do great in Dune. Just based on what I like his character in the book, he's gonna do. Jason Momoa though is the best pick they could have possibly gone with for that movie.
I have a friend who's working with Jason Momoa.
I think we're thinking of the same
You do.
person.
I think we are too.
Cool. We're in the movie industry, guys.
Yeah, we're pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah.
Oh, I mean, he doesn't look sickly, but Asa Butterfield,
Spell it.
ASA Butterfield.
He's
Bad
British.
last name.
He's the guy
Oh.
from Sex Ed and sorry.
Oh,
Wait, I
and-
only know
You're
him
allowed
from
to say
I know him
Ender's
from
Game.
Ender's Game and Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. He could do it.
He
Good
could.
at
He
Sex
just
Ed.
seems
No, you're
very
right.
gangly.
I do love the Asa Butterfield pick, if I'm being honest. That is a very
Uh,
good pick.
Did I go off?
That's a good one.
I think you went off. I agree with this 100%.
That's good. It's
Hey.
good. But does he have the pointy features? I feel like he has to be pointier.
He has a very angular face. Oh yeah, I guess it's more like a
It's like a
rectangle
or like a very like V chin, like point.
tapered rectangle.
Yeah.
He's a little
yeah.
soft. A little
He
Yeah,
is
he's
soft.
a little
soft.
round around the edges.
We're not calling
but-
him fat, by the way. He's just
No.
a little
I
soft.
just mean literally like the
Yeah, he
his
has like a
bones.
rounder face. He still has like a
Yeah.
wimpy face.
Listen,
what
Ben
about-
Kingsley played Gandhi. He can play anyone. We'll get him.
What
to
about
play
that
Vin.
guy from End of the Effing World? And he was in that one episode of Black Mirror. You
I know
that guy?
who you're talking about.
He I feel like he is like in the same vein as Asa Butterfield and stuff. But anyways,
Dev Patel.
we've just talked for a while about our Dreamcast.
I know.
Dear viewer,
Yeah.
what do you think about our picks for who should play Corpse Bride characters in a live action remake? That was a really cool segment, I think.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Ooh. Theories before we go.
Theories before we go. I will hear a theory before we go.
All right. So do we want to hear about the interconnection theory or the what happened to Emily theory?
I think we know what happened to Emily, right? Burkus killed her.
No, like at the end of the movie where she
Oh.
turns into
She turns into bats.
butterfly.
Oh, I thought they were
Butterflies.
bats.
James,
Are you blind?
she turned into the same butterfly that Victor was like,
Oh my gosh,
Looking
that's
at in the-
genius.
right? Beautiful. Good job, Tim Burton. So
Dang,
which
okay.
one do we want to hear about?
First one.
First one.
Okay, interconnection theory. So this is also known as the Tim Burton theory. It's the theory that Frankenweenie, Corpse Bride, and Nightmare Before Christmas are all about the same man. They're all interconnected.
Are they all about Victor?
Yes, they're
Oh,
all
cool.
about Victor. So Frankenweenie, we have Victor, as in Victor Frankenstein, who the movie is essentially like he's bringing back his dead dog.
Yeah.
And it's really like quirky. It's really funny.
Mhm.
And then the main similarities throughout the movies are the reoccurrence of someone named Victor up until obviously Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
And the reoccurrence of the same dog or like dog design as the sole companion to the main character. So the main kind of theory is that Victor has some sort of special powers that allow him to kind of contact the dead, which is why in Frankenweenie he was able to resurrect his dog, and then in Corpse Bride he was like the only living person to be able to like go down to the land of the dead and kind of just be fine. Like he didn't have to be dead. He didn't have like anything like happen to him like as repercussions. Like sometimes you could like disappear or something like Back to the Future style.
Sure.
But nothing happened, and he was able to freely go between the land of the living and the land of the dead. So
Okay.
that brings us to the connection to Nightmare Before Christmas. The theory says that the Skeleton King, or Jack the Skeleton, is Victor from Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie. Basically, all after like everyone's dead in the town, and the town that was in Corpse Bride kind of turns into Halloween Town.
Ooh.
And the reason why everyone's afraid of, like, it never really says in Nightmare Before Christmas why everyone's afraid of Jack as the Skeleton King, but the theory says that it's because he has like this connection to death and resurrection, that's why everyone's afraid of the Skeleton King, and why he's able to maintain kind of like that power, but also like the connection to go between lands and the connection to like not be dead, and you know the resurrection and death constantly just being a recurring theme with the guy that's looks about the same height, same length, except for one's a skeleton. And yeah, that's basically the 5-minute interconnection theory.
My question isn't and I guess the dog thing holds over too, because Jack has a ghost dog.
Yes.
So the Frankenweenie dog is Scraps is Zero, and Victor is Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King.
Yes.
Oh damn, he just corrected you.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
My question is, isn't Frankenweenie would take place first in this trilogy?
Yes.
But doesn't Frankenweenie take place in like America in the 1900s? When does Frankenweenie take place? I haven't seen it, but I remember from the trailers it being like further ahead in time than Corpse Bride.
Yeah, it's like the 50s or 60s.
That's awkward. But I like it. I mean, I like the theory. It's cool. I think it's good. You could think about it symbolically.
Yes.
I just think Tim Burton only knows how to make one movie, so he just keeps making flavors of it.
That's true. That's 100%. You know what? It took a lot of courage to say that, but you're right.
Yeah. No, like legit. I don't know why you would make Corpse Bride, because you made Nightmare Before Christmas, which is like effectively the same thing but better, and there's more. But you thought, oh wait, I need to make Corpse Bride because it's a new interesting kid story. It's like, you just made Nightmare Before Christmas though. That's like even better. And then Frankenweenie, I think he actually did do an interesting story, but he still just is like God, what do I name my character to make it quirky yet spooky? Victor. Victor, like the Frankenstein thing. Oh my God, it's genius. And then he does the Frankenweenie. Like, he just has the same idea and he puts it in every single movie.
But it's a cool
fine.
idea. Like, he does
Yeah.
it effectively. It's always very stylistic.
Of course.
Does anyone have anything else to say? Speak now or forever hold your peace. The wedding reference. Ha 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 ha. Because this movie is about a corpse bride. But in all seriousness, I think that theory is going to turn us in for today. Happy Halloween, everybody. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Socratic Cinema podcast. We love doing it, so we hope you guys love listening to it. If you do, and if you enjoyed, please give us a subscribe to our YouTube channel, same name, Socratic Cinema. Give us a follow wherever you're listening to your podcasts. Write us a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. Leave a rating. We would love to hear from you guys about how we can improve. As always, make sure you spread the word about the show with your friends. Word of mouth is the best way to grow, and we would love to grow. So if you guys enjoy the episode, please share it with your friends. Let us know what movies we should do in the future. Our next episode is already closed slot. We're very sorry, but I think our Halloween slate is pretty much filled. But please let us know what movies you think we should talk about. Let us know your thoughts about Corpse Bride. What did you think? Give us a follow on our Instagram account at Socratic_cinema. Follow our Twitter at Cinema Socratic, our Twitch at Socratic Cinema, and we will see you guys next time. So thanks again for listening. Happy Halloween. We'll keep the spooky Tim Burton train going in 2 weeks because we release podcasts every other Saturday, in case you didn't know. Yes, and scene. That's all. Bye, guys.
Adios.
Oh, thank God, I need to pee.